I've cut into four, and so I want to pull. So you can see the ends of the extension. So what I will do to pull is in a manner that seems as if I'm taking a strand of hair. I pull. You would observe that as I pull at this end, the extension seems to crease, to wrinkle at the other end. The purpose of this pulling is to ensure that I have pointed ends, that my braid has pointed ends. So what pulling basically does is that it kind of extends the extension from one part of the head, from one part. If you pull too much hair at the same time, this is what happens. And if the hair is too much, you may not be able to handle it. So you begin to struggle with tangles. And in the course of struggling with the tangles, you would have a lot of wastes. So having pulled from one side, you can see that you have a lot of bulb at the other side. So having finished pulling, you can observe that this is where I pulled from. It is smooth. However, this is the other end. It is all squeezed and rumpled. Now, the next thing we want to do is to smoothen out this part of the extensions so that it also has this look. If you look closely at the ends of this particular part, of these ends, you can see that some ends are also protruding, like this side. It is no longer as blunt as it was when we started. So the next assignment is to smooth it so that we have these ends looking like these ends also. So to start that process, the first thing we do is that we separate. The purpose of this separation is to reduce the volume of tangles at this end. You can see as I separate and open, this end, the squeezed part, the tangled part is smoothing out, and then you can see the length of the hair. We are not through yet. Yet you can see that this part that was looking very rough is aligned, and it's almost aligning to look like this. You would also notice that the more I open, the more it is easy. I'm no longer struggling to separate the hair. Why? Because the knots and the tangles have disappeared. Now I have very smooth and aligned braided hair. The next thing I will do is, this is supposed to be a waist, and I align it properly. Again, I pull from the other side and align properly. I pull from this side and I align properly. Having that properly aligned, the next thing I'll do is, using a brush, I brush out the extension. The purpose of brushing out is if there are any hidden tangles or if there are any other extensions that are hiding inside the braiding hair, I'll just brush it out. And the extension is ready to use. The next thing I'll do is, the purpose of the oil sheen is to enhance sheen of the braiding hair. At times, you may have situations where a client wants to use two colors. In this case, I have blonde and I have burgundy. And then I'm supposed to blend it. So, if you want to blend your extensions, you will put one on top of the other. So, in this case, I'm going to put the blonde on top of the burgundy. You have to, in the course of place, you have to ensure that both of them is placed properly so that both of them are the same length. When you do that, the first thing you do is you separate into two equal parts. Then again, now when you separate it into two equal parts, you notice that you have the burgundy under and you have the gold on top. You have the burgundy under and you have the gold on top. So what do? I now place this burgundy, this half on top of this half. When I place it, I now have a blend of the four colors. So this is the burgundy gold. And then I separate again. When I separate again, I place this half on top of this half. This again creates, you can see the blend, the gold, and then I open again. And then placing each half on top of the other half. You open and then you place. And while you mix, you ensure that the colors are evenly distributed. You can see the blend, the outcome of the blend. Ensure that you do not have a concentration of a particular color in one place. You continue to separate. You separate, and then you place at top. Whatever excesses, you pull it out and you place it on top. You pull out. This is to reduce waste. To minimize waste. So those ones that would waste, you pull it again. And then when you are through, you can see the blend. And then you brush. This is the outcome. Two colors. And then after this is done, you apply your oil sheen, rub it in, and the hair is ready to be used.